What's good, everybody? Chris here again. Chris Goes Outdoors. Finally wrapped up with the Colorado Trail hiking finale. Just posted that a couple days ago. And of course, after any long trail, people want to hear about gear. Instead of doing an entire gear overview like everything I carried, I'm going to split this into two videos. I'm going to talk about some stuff that worked really well for me out there, stuff that didn't work so well for me out there. So in this video, we're going to talk about the good stuff. First thing that worked exceptionally well for me out on the Colorado Trail. Right here. All this stuff right here. And this was my sun gear. I had probably the most questions about this hat in particular. And this is the Outdoor Research Sun Runner. This thing was awesome. It was on my head pretty much any time I was on trail. And it was nice in that the hat itself is like extremely lightweight. So super light. The material itself kind of breathes pretty well. There's mesh all over it. Like this whole area is mesh. This right here keeps the sun out of your grill. Fully adjustable with Velcro on the back. And the thing just it just worked. Worked so well. I really liked it. Kept me from essentially turning into a tomato out there. The plus about this one too, when you are in town, if you're not feeling too confident rocking the full-on little curtain here, you can literally just take it. There's two snaps on the front, pop that off on Velcro, and just slide that out from the back. There you go. You have just a hat for walking about town. Pretty cool. So I really like this thing. This was probably one of the best decisions I feel like I made for the Colorado Trail. And to go with that as well, I picked up also the Outdoor Research. I believe these are also the Sunrunner. I could be wrong, but I think they were Sunrunner of the gloves. So these things were pretty cool. They essentially just kept my hands from getting torched while I was out on the trail. I feel like a lot of people kind of forget the extremities a little bit, but they're like super light. Like putting these on, it feels cooler. Like there's something about whatever fabric they use and just how light it is. It just feels cool. So I don't know what space age technology they went with for that, but I used this out on the trail as well. Not this exact one, the other one is gross and in the wash, but I used a Columbia Silver Ridge hiking shirt, and these things are pretty awesome. Again, not sure of the fabric, but it keeps you nice and cool relatively when you're out there like highly exerting yourself. Dries out pretty quick. It's got this little vent type of thing going on in the back here, some mesh to like help your back breathe a little bit. With the collar, it's nice, kind of keeps your neck a little more safe even with the hat on. With this, it's just another layer of protection. It is long sleeve, but you can easily roll those sleeves up, and then it's got this little hook right here, so if you roll them up you can actually like button it into place so they don't fall down. Never really used that personally, but I love the shirt, I love the hat, and I love the gloves. Wore them every single day and have, I don't think, a single complaint about them. Like they worked very well. Next, we're gonna talk about these guys that look like a very nice trash bag. These right here are the Enlightened Equipment Copperfield Windpants. So these weigh in something around 2 ounces. I don't think I use them in wind at all. You could in theory use them in rain. They are not waterproof, water resistant. I'm sure they will soak through eventually. But where these came in outrageously handy for me was 1, leaving camp in the morning if it was very cold out. But 2, and most importantly, they were the perfect mosquito repellent. The mosquitoes in like a 3 or 4 day stretch on the trail were just insane. I'm talking like hundreds of them flying around me at all times. So I actually hiked, I think 2 or 3 full days in these. So just underwear in these, and surprisingly comfortable. Like I wasn't sweating out crazy like I thought I would be. And they work good. They've held up pretty well. I think there might be 1 or 2 like little punctures. The fabric is absurdly thin. But they've held up. And I carry these now literally on every hike I go on. They kind of saved my life out there. So and then the next piece that worked out really well, kind of in conjunction with the Copperfield Windpants, This right here. This is the Sea to Summit. I think it's the Nano head net. So this thing, another lifesaver when the mosquitoes were bad. Having them not be able to bite your face off, pretty cool. And when you use it in conjunction with the hat as well, it keeps the netting off of your face. So I use this around camp a bunch of nights while I was eating. Used it on trail too, a lot like this, just because incessant mosquitoes, you know. So while I'd be sitting there eating, I would just keep it on, literally pick it up and shovel food in my mouth. But this thing worked out great. Another thing that essentially doesn't not come with me. Like, it's always in my backpack now. Well, maybe not in winter, but for the other seasons, I think it's something like an ounce or two. And for the protection, for the annoyance, that is massive amounts of mosquitoes. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it every time. And next on this list, and this thing surprised me, but it's this right here. This is a little nature hike, like Daypack, a travel backpack I think it's listed as on Amazon. So I brought this literally as my carry-on for the flight to Colorado. I kept my camera in there. I kept like a base layer water bottle on the side. It has like the stretchy pockets. And my plan was, once I got to Denver, to ship whatever I didn't want to carry back in this, like in a box. Except I really enjoyed having this, and I used it to hold my first aid kit, my like toilet paper, toiletries and stuff like that while on trail. And it also doubled as like another food bag if it was necessary, which I only think I used once out of town. This thing was awesome. It weighs a couple ounces. I'll try to put the weight somewhere on the video or in the description. Having this thing around town, for anybody that's thru hiked, I feel like when you're going around town to do like chores and stuff, especially if you can't get rides to and from places, this thing was a godsend. I could fit like all of my laundry, like all of it into here. So the first time I used it was Breckenridge. I had to walk down to the laundromat, which is like 2 miles or something like that. I threw everything I had in here, had a Gatorade like on the side, like everything I needed, credit card, all that, I just stuck right in here. And I just walked around town with this thing, did my laundry, put it all back in here, and just walked around town, got food and stuff. I loved this thing. I used it in every town I went to, like as my just kind of go bag, left all my gross stuff, my gross backpack, back in the hostel or room or whatever we were staying in. Yeah, I was kind of blown away by this thing and how useful it actually was. In all honesty, if I do another long distance hike, or when I do another long distance hike, 99% this is coming with me again. So. And then last but not least on the actual list, I have 2 honorable mentions I would like to discuss after this quick. But the last one on that list, this guy right here. This is the Hyperlight Mountain Gear 3400 Southwest. So bag worked near perfect. I'm not gonna talk too much about it because I feel like I'm gonna do a full review on this. But this bag worked near perfect for me. Lowest weights I was carrying was probably close to 20 pounds. Highest weight was probably close to 45, maybe even more with full water. Never had an issue with this bag, never. Like it was that good for sure. Again, I don't want to go too much into detail because I'm more than likely going to do a full review on it, but the bag worked super, super well. I have absolutely like minimal complaints about this bag in general. So the Hyperlight worked great. For long distance stuff, I feel like this is going to be my go-to for the foreseeable future anyway. Just a great backpack overall. And again, I'll try to do a full review on that, so look for that coming eventually. And then we have 2 honorable mentions in this category. The first, the quilt that replaced the Nemo Banshee that was not sufficing at all. The Katabatic Flex 30. So I got mine in the long wide, I believe it is. They might refer to it as something else size-wise, but it's the longest one, the widest one, I believe. And this thing was great. It worked very well. I might do a full gear review on this as well, which is why I don't want to go too crazy into detail. Long story involving getting this, or short story involved getting this, but I actually sent an email to, I think it was Chris at Katabatic, while I was on trail told him I'd be in Breckenridge like the next day. Was like, dude, if you have anything long wide, I was trying to get a Flex 15, I think. I was like, I will take it, like, no questions asked. And he told me he had a Flex 30 he could get me. And I literally called him on the phone, gave him my information, was like, can you get it to the hostel like the next day? So he sent it next day shipping, but unfortunately it didn't arrive until the next Monday. That was the whole Breckenridge thing where I watched the videos, I explained the whole thing there. But ended up getting it to me super quick either way, and the quilt did outrageously well. I paid for the quilt full price, and I paid shipping full price, and shipping overnight, good lord. So I paid substantial for this quilt, but it performed great. And then last but not least, as honorable mention, this thing right here. Within this stuff sack, and I'm not going to open it because it smells of damp, moist tent. I can smell it emanating from the actual stuff sack. This is my Daypack Soulplex tent. I've used this on the entirety of the Appalachian Trail, 22-ish, 100 miles. And now, the entirety of the Colorado Trail as well, another 500 miles or so. I've yet to see another tent that I am like genuinely interested in purchasing, because this one just fits all my needs. And I've said before that, because people think the weight to whatever difference between this and the duplex is not that major. For me, it's the footprint. Where I camp in New Hampshire a lot in the whites, finding a spot wide enough for something like the duplex, it can be pretty tricky. So having something smaller footprint works out significantly better for me most of the time. This thing's still kicking, still doing good, and I would probably take this on another thru hike. Would it make it through that? I don't know, but would I take it? Absolutely. So cheers to my Daypack Soulplex 2,700-ish mile tent, probably a little more with the stuff I've done in New Hampshire as well. And this thing's still going. Anyways, that's gonna do it. That's the main stuff that just worked exceptionally well for me. Stuff that I would definitely take back out on trail again. Stuff I more than likely will take back out on trail if and when I do another long distance thru hike. So I hope the video was helpful. If it was, you can drop it a like. If you loved it, consider commenting and subscribing. You can follow me on Instagram if you care to, at Chris Goes Outdoors. Don't feel obligated. Social media is pretty lame. And the next one will probably be the stuff that didn't work too well for me out on trail. So keep an eye out for that. So until then, we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.